What it do? It's your boy Chili's. We're back. I will stream for like an hour. Probably an hour and 20 minutes max. But get some things off my mind that have been dealing with me or this, that, and the third. So last week I was in New York City. I'm glad to be back home. Where I reside at. Last week was pretty good, I would say, to a degree, but there was a lot of bull going on, and lack of better words, I went to pretty much the diamond capital of the world, at least, or the place that has the most money, or the block that pretty much has the most money in the world, I would say. It's New York City, 47th Street. I went to go see Trax. Trax wasn't there, his team was there. All the people that I see on the thing, some of the people are short. I had no idea how short some of the people were. Like, Peter was short. Some of the other guys were short too. Kirby was short. Peter was just chilling. He was just laughing a lot. I know when I get my first little thing, I will get myself a Cuban made by Trax. That's one thing I will get myself a Cuban. So what are my thoughts on the 47th Street Diamond pretty much exchange? I think it's cool to a degree, but my whole point and premise of the thing, the place is very dirty. What I mean by dirty, there's a lot of construction going on. It smells like pee, urine. You have homeless people, this, that, and the third. Homeless people can pretty much be everywhere. I mean, drug use, mental illness, and a plethora of different issues, socioeconomic conditions can cause people to be on the street, and then mental illness, and then substance abuse. That's probably three of the main reasons for mental illness, and a variety of other different factors. But, at the end of the day, you gotta get better. I feel like places have to invest in mental health services and whatnot. And a person has to only want to get better than what is basically better for themselves, realize, when they're having a problem, go get that addressed, and be dedicated even when things are going good to continue treatment. Next. Somebody thinking something about jury district. But me personally, would I ever, I met somebody and they tried to offer me a job. Now, thing about it, I'll be cool with this person. I got their card and information. I'm going to text them probably tomorrow and thank him for his words of encouragement. Personally, for me, I would never move to New York City. I would go there for business, if I have my own thing going. And me and people would do business, but past a few things, I would never consider moving out to New York City. Number one, it's too expensive. Three, the cost of doing business, you're paying $10,000 a month for 20 square feet of booth. And then you have to make money. You have to be shrewd to a degree. And then a lot of people are flattered by puffery. Oh yeah, this is just, this is the price of something that's really not the price. I saw a Rolex, new Jigsaw Rolex, Everose, 18 karat gold. This man said this watch was $16,000. That watch was not no $16,000, bruh. That watch is worth $61,000. And then I saw the Rainbow Daytona. I said Rainbow Daytona is like at peak was 800,000, and now today is worth like what 400,000. And to me personally, I think that's a little bit too much money for something that really ain't even all that. It's not because it's Rolex. Number one, I don't think that, you know, the setting for the stones, it is pretty nice, by the way. Rolex does make good set stone watches, like factory, that is. Except the Pro Master. The Pro Master is terrible. It's basically Rolex bust down, but it looks terrible. The setting for it is bad. And then two, where are you gonna wear that at? You wearing like, you know, a $400,000 piece, you pretty much are, you know, you're not gonna wear that out, but like only in certain circumstances. You're gonna have to put that in the safety deposit box, and then yeah, safe, and where you basically doing business or banking at. And because banking is the way it is, or, you know, the certain stuff, and then the insurance companies, you know, that's something to think about. If they get a deposit box and who you bank with. Some places have, I would say, pretty fair rates on certain things. On, like, you know, say the deposit box, but it varies from bank to bank. And two, there's certain items, like especially in jewelry, that you cannot have in a safety deposit box. Like if you have an opal ring or something like that, that's not going in a safety deposit box, because opal has to be exposed to moisture, because it will definitely damage the stone. So someone says, oh yeah, I got me an Australian opal or Boulder opal or whatnot. That stuff really has to be in a safety deposit, not necessarily in a safety deposit box. It has to be open to moisture. So, at the end of the day, a lot of stuff is kind of up to the person. What the damn sandwich? I haven't been on Fortnite in so long. Let's see. Oh my god. Two, I'll go into some other things about New York City. What I did see, I saw expensive watches, very expensive watches, like Patek's, Richard Mills. I saw RM10, I saw RM11. all this stuff. I saw it in person. I saw the Protect Philippe Aquanaut. Those watches are tiny. It almost looks fake. Richard Mille definitely looks fake to a degree. I got 8 kills. I'm doing alright. Now, I'm going to New York about, like, you know, who I saw. I met Moses Jewelry. Moses Jewelry is a good jeweler. He's a good person. The space where he's at, there's other jewelers, this, that, and third there. He does good business. Definitely does good business. You can't get a better deal in New York City from anybody. Moses Jewelry got it right there. Like, he got a olive green Datejust. That's probably the only Rolex I would possibly consider buying. He had it for $12,250. I would buy it if I had a job to a degree. That was like the only Rolex I would have. This guy's doo-doo for that, bruh. He got the game. That guy was terrible. I was almost on the way of getting like what? Probably 15 piece, man. But anyway, one of my main problems with business or like pretty much jewelry too. I'm almost a gemologist. Like I got a schedule for this next test. I think I'm going to take it maybe next week because the sooner the better I can get. The sooner the better. Because then the only thing I do is the lab, then I have like 2 more things to do, and I'll be a definitely a gemologist by like 2024. And part of the thing, like after that, it's like 30. I would spent $30,000 or whatnot, and what you call it, $30,000, and not even including hotel costs, travel, and food. And I saw the GIA New York campus. I wasn't impressed. I I was impressed. This is big building. It's nice, the inside, but outside and everything going on around it is nasty. I'm sorry. Where I go to school at, the Carlsbad location is very clean, very well kept, well put together. Because I mean, it's California. There's certain stuff in California that outside aesthetically is more pleasing than the New York campus. The campus is nice. I don't know about the food, the cafeteria, what they got going on, and I definitely say the approach with the instructor is a whole lot more authentic than what you could get at a how could I say, basically New York place. That's what I would say. The New York campus, I don't know anything about it. I'm not gonna say it's 100% dog or whatnot. I think it is. It serves as an institution. But as far as anything else, personally for me, I don't get anything from it. Like, New York is like an hour from where I live at. And, yeah. Lack of better words, I don't think that, California or New York, to a degree, you're a student. I don't think, to a degree, I mean, you work in jewelry, I mean, you should be proficient. I think when everything is said and done, like, I think it's up to the person, honestly speaking, what they choose to do with their, degree or career path. Like, there's other aspects which you can do with, gemology. Gemology, you can do field gemology, like you can go and collect passport stamps and get paid or whatnot. Really, with everything that's being said and done with jewelry, I think jewelry right now is not necessarily a great buy to a certain degree for now. That's something for that guy. We're about to leave. Too. We're going to talk about jewelry too, and then the prices for jewelry. Jewelry is one of those things where it's going to be, how can I say, consecutively a downward trend depending on what you basically see or what you choose not to see. Like, for instance, if we're basically going into a recession, right? And these people are, having puffery about we have the biggest inventory, this, that, and the third. And I feel like a lot of this stuff is ego too. We have the biggest inventory, we have this, that, and the third. Well, if you can't sell or the market, you won't, reduce the price of certain stuff. I'd rather take a loss and earn some money on something that's just not selling than to sit up here and we're talking about we had the biggest inventory, because at that point, he's kind of being an idiot at that point, honestly speaking. Because at the end of the day, the difference between you gaining a customer or losing a customer is really based on price point, and then experience and then quality. The quality of a lot of industries have gone down way, definitely tremendously. Pretty much even food. When I was in New York City, there's probably only one place that was even remotely good to eat at, and that was Carmine's in New York City, like Times Square. That was good. That was consistently good. anything outside of that, I can't really say. Even these chicken joints, like if you are into Jollibees is trash. $12 for 2 pieces of chicken, not even including the side and not including the drink. You mean to tell me by the end of the whole thing, by you getting drink and certain stuff like that, you're talking about tearing up $20 for two pieces of chicken and one side, $20. You could have got a whole pack of chicken for that. Eating at home is a whole lot better than or eating healthy, basically. Shelling out the money is better than paying somebody for something that ain't going to be good for your body and then good for you in terms of just eating. Now, in terms of like anything else outside of that, food and jewelry and certain stuff like that, I know people, they go on these long lunch breaks and whatnot. And, you know, people are allowed to, you know, go and have a decent lunch. But honestly speaking, I don't think that 2 pieces of fried chicken, a side, and then a drink was like, what, $3.85. That's pretty much garbage. And there's no specials. So on that, you know, you basically don't even have, you know, you're not incentivizing business for the value for the money, especially in this economy too, and New York. The average person working can't even afford that. I'm not doing no mental gymnastics about that. Like $15 and like what, 50 cents is probably what, minimum wage. So you mean to tell me that you have to work an hour and a half to basically be in order to eat if you want to go there? And then too, with like Chick-fil-A in New York is bad. It is bad. People like, do I like anything? I would say, for the most part, I would say it depends on what I like. It's not the day of the week. It's really on what I'm seeing and what I've experienced more than anything that will make me say something is trash. Like, if we're talking about, you know, food and the price point, that's number one. The price point will make you be like, nah, this isn't worth it. Like, I went to the airport in JFK and had a meal. This place was called the Soho Bistro. And they had this particular burger there. I think I got a mushroom and Swiss. And it was $25. And the drink was $4.85. So you're talking about $30 for the food. It's like $30 for a burger. It won't even good. You're getting over. You're charging twice the money, and they have the Seattle going on. Well, there's not that many options, and people are so tired, and then they know they can charge. They know they're hitting you upside the head for the food. That place like that deserves to be out of business. I'm sorry. Because what you're giving people is rubble. It's just, it's doo-doo. It deserves to be out of business, because once you just start taking advantage of people in their situation, it's just bad. It just went from bad to worse. Now, the next thing I will say is food and price point. A lot of stuff has gone up, and, you know, that guy almost got me. Alright, next. And we're going to talk about, too, with the food and then the prices are going on. To me, even the street food quality is going down. That's another problem I got with the thing. Like, the average person, I don't think anybody, under any circumstances, should normalize spending $15 or 20 bucks for certain items. It's not, that doesn't get a pass. That's not, I mean, honestly speaking, I like the great value bargains. The $10 with a fries and a drink, incentivizing business and making money on volume, than to sit up here and be charging people $20. It's just not really worth it. But I understand prices of food, or then the prices have gone up. But some people, their prices have gone up by like $4, and I just don't see it. The premium doesn't exist when the quality is not even assured. It goes with jewelry, it goes with anything, and then the brand. Like, you know, a 2-kilo Cuban should cost, technically, my honest opinion, it should cost around, I would say $210. And I'm being conservative with those numbers. Gold is like, a kilo of gold is like $62,000 last time I checked. 62 to 63,000 bucks. If I don't have any diamonds in it, obviously jewelers and stuff have to make money or whatnot. I would say it's only about $210. Because it is labor, this, that, and the third, but if it has a durability problem, which a lot of stuff does, because people don't, you know, do attention to detail like that, people should most definitely gosh, idiot. People should most definitely do their basic due diligence and then shop around with people, because the only difference between someone else's services and them is that from start to finish, if you have a flawed product, what are you going to do? Like if a chain or a lock doesn't work well, I've seen a lot of people sell these Cubans out here with possibly some definitely defects, and they're saying that this is we stand by our products. No, did they even test it? Like, there's this guy I like watching. His name is Cuba Knows Jewelry. Cuba Know definitely will test people's jewelry and call them out on their bull. Although I think some of his measures are extreme in terms of testing people's Cubans. Like, he'll basically go and pull the stuff with the, what's it called? A wire cutter or a wrench, and then basically pull on the thing, and then he'll go and use a millimeter gauge to see if it's proportionate. The space, the millimeters are correct to be considered a Cuban, and make sure there's not that much space between the links. And he definitely grades the finish, and he also does the stuff and see if it was polished correctly. I think those are very important type of measures, you know. Especially when we're talking about jewelry. Come on. And we're talking about jewelry today, and then the jewelry of back then. I would say, especially in New York City, I feel like New York City definitely gave the flavor of jewelry that we have now. I mean, I think, what's his name? We were talking about it the other day. Flavor Flav, he definitely is the original godfather, in my opinion, of Cuban. And all the chains, the big chains, that stuff started back in the 80s. Rakim and Eric B, they're also founders of the original chains, the big chains, baggy clothes, the New York trend. So, with that being said, I really think that New York is definitely the originator of a lot of stuff, especially on the East Coast. And then you see the Cubans. Now, Cubans and probably Miami, they're definitely the real deal. I think the thing is, Miami definitely has the claim to fame. They are the originators of Miami Cuban. But you know, the funny thing is, a lot of people from New York wind up going to Miami, and they start settling down there. And for the most part, when I think about that, it's smart. I mean, Florida's a tax haven. You got cold weather, not necessarily cold weather. I mean, you got cold weather in New York, but you have a tropical climate all the time. You have like 80 degrees. And two, it's a single man's paradise, Miami. New York, I think New York is cool if you have money to a degree, financial district, but I just don't see New York as a place of like settling down and really, starting a family. It's dirty. There's rats. The transportation is bad. You definitely have to have a car or some consistent, reliable transportation in New York. I would even buy a car from New York because, think about the under the car. It's probably, with all the snow and certain stuff like that, it probably looks terrible underneath the car. Like, the catalytic converter, all that stuff's probably rusty. The price of the car and the durability is probably gone too. And then tax. And then how long basically, what I'm trying to say is the vehicles. The village in the motor vehicles, like you try and get a license, you have to change your stuff to get set up in New York. To me, that's not even necessarily a gradual process. That's something you're gonna have to take your time with. Person sucks. Next. The only way I would consider even move to New York, I really wouldn't even move to New York, to be honest. It's not for me. You gotta know when certain stuff isn't for you and don't try to force it. Really speaking, a rule of thumb in my opinion is health insurance, how well you covered. Like if you go out there with $40,000, you're gonna have to do a lot of stuff. That $40,000, after everything is said and done, you're probably gonna be down to, in a day, if you move up there or you do a multi-stage move, you're probably gonna sign a lease. You're probably gonna pay a deposit. And you looking at Manhattan, like if I were to even consider doing what I was gonna do, I'd probably have to have north of $35,000 or more. Or $40,000. That doesn't even include looking for places, transportation, even looking at housing, and then a comfortable place, and I would say reasonable distance to a place where I could work at. And me personally, I just don't see it. I'd rather work for myself to a degree, work for somebody and polish up my skills, and then just do what I need to do to get to where I need to be at. And then too, I was just seeking with like jewelry, this, that, and the third. It's one of those things where I would even say you have to be 100% getting it. Because the idea of getting it is only based on, I'll see, 3 factors: money, the market, and then foot traffic. And once you don't even have a mastery of those 3, you're pretty much going to be down. Like for me, I don't like drinking the Kool-Aid with any type of place because every market is affected by some type of things, unforeseeable or unforeseen circumstances that could affect the market. Like, let's say, for instance, like milk or ice cream. Let's say you have a particular ice cream, your inventory, your best seller. Let's say like Bluebell ice cream. They had Listeria. Let's say store had Bluebell as their best seller that accounted for, I would say, 15% of their dairy. 15% of their dairy sales. And once that thing is out and they had all that money tied up in that, they're not going to be able to write that off. You're not going to be able to make that money. That's 15% of money, 15% change in business. And once you don't know how to adjust to that, you're pretty much going to be screwed. You're really going to be screwed. And then at the same time, when you think about business and that type of component, and, throwing that away and recalls, some of these people are going to, how can I put it this way, like especially the companies and the people behind it, the product in itself has been, under some type of, I was not saying investigation, but it's definitely been under some type of circumstance that was out of control. Like, whenever you buy food, the allergens, it may have contained peanuts or may come in contact with trees, this, that, and the third. And there's something, like, I know someone had, like, some food or something like that, and they, because of the factory, what it was, they had, like, metal shavings and certain stuff in their stuff, and they wound up suing the doggone, how can I say it, the company behind the product. And then, there's little small stuff like that. And you wind up paying for it. You don't realize it, but you are paying for it. Anything that bad that happens to a degree, especially the market and then just crime, in a sense, you're paying for it. Like Walmart. Walmart is going through theft at a unwavering rate. And for lack of better words, the average person is paying for it. We may not think that we're not paying for it, but we are. And then two, with the way stuff being the way it is, a lot of people are gouging people. Like, for instance, like eggs being, $14 at some point. That's not cool. You're getting hit at the gas pumps. You really have to be making your money. Like, I had a server, he was basically good. He said he basically would lose, like, $110 a day, basically going, to try to get money. Doing server. He could do good, but I mean, understanding that, one bad thing, life can happen. I mean, that's just the thing. Life can happen. You're losing at least $60 a day because he parks his car, and then if he had to do all that stuff to tolls, he'll probably lose like $170 a day, but he only loses like 60. He parks this thing and then commutes in, but you're losing like what, three hours of your life because you have to do other bus stops, this, that, and the third. That's not necessarily cool in my opinion, but you gotta do what you gotta do to support yourself. And this, that, and the third. I mean, do I think there should be a working class? Yes and no. I mean, everybody can't make, $170,000. It's just not going to happen, realistically. Do I think some stuff is with skill? Now, some stuff, you stick stuff out, you tough it out, and you work your way through some things, you'll be able to make money. But in all honesty, if you think about some of the stuff you had to do to even get to there, it's not worth it. Like UPS or all these different companies. You shouldn't have to stay, 20 years or whatnot to get a retirement, and then too. So, I mean, 20 years is good, but if you're not enjoying what you're doing, I mean, money is not going to buy happiness. I think money buys temporary dopamine hits. That's what it is, honestly speaking. And then, too, with the way things are going, especially with UPS, a lot of people falling out and dying because it's too hot, and then they're only authorized to make a handful of stops. And you're seeing these people jump in the pool, you're seeing people getting water, the stuff is not even air conditioned. Wow. I was so low. Man. But yeah, I don't think that that's necessarily a career. I'm not crapping on it. But the promise and the hope of staying at a place for 20 years, nah. You want to be loyal, but you also want to make sure people being loyal and fair to you. And there's no bull, and you've been good to each other at the same time. Now, with business and how things go, there's a lot of things I would say you can't stay at certain places. Like, let's say a financial institution. You work for a financial institution like a bank or something like that, and they went out of business or whatnot. Or let's say someone worked at a place like FTX or Celsius. Someone probably could have worked there and this, that, and a third, and they probably trying to find a job. But like, if you're at a job and you're at a place that previously had some type of financial issues and people were stealing money from customers and funding their own lifestyle, I have a problem with that. And pretty much with anything, people are doing that. It doesn't matter the watch industry, this, that, and the third. People are stealing people's money. The thing about an invoice, especially in business, if you shake someone's hand, that's considered legally binding. Like if we already have an agreement based on a lot of watches and certain stuff like that, we shake hands and it's already agreed. And we both said that I want to pay you. We both agreed that we want to get paid within 2 weeks. And within 2 weeks, I haven't sent the person the money or whatnot, and I'm out here on a yacht or something like that. That sets a bad precedent on the watch industry as a whole. Some people doing that. They're not forthright and forthcoming, and they're basically robbing Peter to pay Paul. And for lack of better words, I mean that's pretty much what I would say crypto or anything like that, it's a scam. It's one big elaborate scam. Like, we're out here preaching crypto. Crypto's trash. And I sold my stuff. I have no regrets. No regrets at all. I mean, I still have a little bit of crypto left. I probably have like $100 worth of crypto that I could sell right now. But at the same time, I'm trying to get back to work. I think, honestly speaking, if I had my ideal thing, I would still invest in crypto to a small degree, like have a mining rig or something like that. Just say I have it, and then still look at the products and certain stuff, do like little day trading, and try to start like $100 or maybe something small like $1,000 or $700 or $500, and see where I could take that, and then do short-term and long-term growth and read some books and make my money. But as far as like people trying to sell people courses, I really don't believe in that. If someone is relatively came up so fast within the space, and they're talking about, I made $450,000 off of trading. You didn't make no $450,000 off. Some people are flattered by puffery, and that's pretty sad if you think about it. People are flattered by puffery, and when you're basically doing that, and you're going to elevate these people to a platform that quite frankly they didn't earn, or the accolades that they have never even achieved, you were part of the problem, to be honest. If a person doesn't even have the relatively, how can I say, accolades, and they haven't showed a consistent growth or even produce anything of what they say, anything tangible outside of a few things, some people are hucksters, and their whole thing is basically to build up a platform, have people in there, and basically start going and saying okay, this is what you do right here. The same thing with these people talking about parlays, buy my picks. These people are masters of puffery, and people are elevating these people. No one's had that much power where they're basically going and saying this, that, and the third, and people are following them blindly and then giving them their money and they haven't produced anything. And I think, for the lack of better words, there's no accountability of pretty much anybody, even the people promoting it, the people inside of it, and then no one seems to the light bulb to go off like, hey, this is puffery at its finest. We're basically going and doing this, that, and the third. We didn't look past this for what it is. A lot of people, what they start doing is they start selling these courses, and they say for you, like especially with real estate, normally it costs around $4,000, but for today only, you can get it for $1,500. If you get 10 people to do that, that's $15,000. Now, some of this stuff you can find on Google, but some of this stuff, you know, it's with any business, too. You can't go out here and try to wholesale real estate or anything like that and think you're good. You got to have a real estate license. You can't go and flip properties or this, that, and the stuff, the title of houses, do a quick claim deed, do all this type of stuff. A lot of these people are masters of puffery. And the thing about it, and once you understand business and business outside of a certain frame or perspective, you're going to look at stuff a lot differently. Like, for instance, someone was saying they were making more money not incorporated and working on, like, outside the realm of basically incorporating on a watch business than they were. And they were legit. But, you know, they definitely cut some corners and certain stuff, and it wasn't safe, but they would always be safe where they had a easy out. And they would conduct business at a pawn shop, and he would pay the guy like, you know, $300 to set everything up, make sure stuff was running and it was beneficial for all parties. And for lack of better words, I think that's smart to a degree. But at the same time, if you really think about it, the market and stuff is changing. You can't necessarily do what you did back then now, because if you were doing all that type of stuff and then someone cracked down on that, like with taxes, you know, you'd be screwed. Like, there's so many businesses right now that are in hot water because they're not collecting sales tax, and the government's not getting their fair share, and then before you know it, you're going to end up in prison, or you're going to have your business and your property and all your stuff seized. And that's no way you do business. You got to be proactive about business. You know, ignorance doesn't protect you at all. Like, if people talking about books and accounting is definitely a managerial responsibility. This is how much money comes in. These are the accounts that we have. This is our salaries and wages payable. This is our operating expense. These are our what you call expenses, the costs around the business. These are our profits. How we're going to reinvest this back into business. How we're going to get from point A to point B. How we're going to run this marketing campaign. How we're going to be able to adapt to the market trends, the market cycle. Like, for instance, a lot of people are trying to go and use this chat GPT for business. I don't really think that's a smart move and a smart business decision, because once you start being overly dependent on technology that's not based on fact or reality, and let's say someone has expected growth of 15% or 25%, and they've seen that. That's only a forecast. It doesn't account for any of the market conditions. Like, let's say someone got into a AP open worked perpetual calendar or whatnot. At the peak of that was like, you know, $450,000. Today, that watch can be had for like, I'm gonna say $275. White ceramic. Ceramic is easy to break, but hard to scratch. Would I ever own a perpetual calendar, AP ceramic? Maybe. I think that, honestly speaking, with those watches, this, that, and the third, it's meant to be worn, you know, but I don't really count it as a real perpetual calendar, because in all honesty, a perpetual calendar is a difficult complication for one. And, for instance, I would say, to a degree, a perpetual calendar needs a pin to basically change the date and whatnot. If it's too easy for you to change it, I would say, to a degree, some stuff should be user friendly. FP Jorn is probably one of the greatest watchmakers of right now in terms of independence and his watchmaking right now in history. He only makes 800 watches a year, and no watch is 100% the same. He has watches right now that are one off or one of. Even if it's the same model, it's not the same. I watched a video on how this guy basically had an FP Jorn. FP Jorn made a mistake on the dial or whatnot. He left off a letter, and then the tourbillon and then the case is made of what you call gold, rose gold, and then the dial has patina on it, and then the tourbillon is basically one off too. It's not bad or anything like that, but the tourbillon is a whole lot different than how it is now. And then also the power reserve. Whenever you have certain stuff on the watch, and you know the price point, and you got it. I mean, personally, I don't think anybody should really sell the watches like that. I mean, if you really collect this, that, and the third, I feel like you should buy what's in your budget. Like there was this guy I was watching today. He is a real watch dealer. He has like I would say $1 billion in watches. He's definitely touched $1 billion of watches, but I definitely disagree with some of the watches and some of his takes. But we can agree to disagree on it, and that's 100% fine. The only problem becomes is when people are going and saying that an AP millenary is $80,000. I don't think an AP millenary is $80,000. It depends on how complete it is, the condition, and then too, AP millenary tourbillon might have cost $300,000, but at the same time today, what I would pay for it is a whole lot different than what someone else will probably try to charge for that. I understand people got to make their money, their percentages, this, that, and the third, but if the conversation was to be had, it's not a good seller, for one. In order for people to buy an AP, like a perpetual calendar, they have to buy stuff that's dog. It's just trash. You probably lose, I'd say, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars even just trying to pay for that. To get like an AP or anything like that. They have another one. They have a tourbillon, I think perpetual calendar, open work, $1 million. I wasn't impressed by it because it was ceramic, and a tourbillon and like basically ceramic doesn't make that much sense. It's not economically viable. I wouldn't even want to think about the actual insurance on that, where you're going to be able to wear that, and then the price tag, $1 million. Some has a perpetual calendar, and definitely the precious metal. That's not a precious metal, so I really don't see the point of paying $1 million. But the proceeds are going to charity, so I can kind of see it. But the moment is when we start hyping stuff up, we don't start seeing that's puffery. Like that's you can't see outside the realm of certain stuff what it is puffery. And you get mad that you get taken advantage of or taken for a ride. I mean, you kind of have to look back at yourself and wonder, why this is what it is. Why is the price of certain stuff just so high and people willing to pay for it in order to get it? In all honesty, $1 million AP is not looking too good for me. Personally, I would never buy it. You can get a better watch collection. I say the key for a watch collection to me is price point, and then style. Style is one of those things. It's not necessarily about the money. How much money you spend is whether you think it's aesthetically pleasing for you or if it's for you. Like, for me, I know Supreme isn't for me, so I'm not buying it. I don't care if it's a limited edition Supreme. I'm just not buying it. I don't think that the market for Supreme is really that great. And I'm going to state that. And I can basically tell you why. Supreme is one of those things, doesn't cost that much, but it has a resale basically market for it. I don't see the market because the market doesn't exist for me. That's my personal opinion. Just like the same thing with Off-White. I don't like Off-White either. Not against Virgil Abloh, R.I.P., but at the same time, I think the only reason why it was popular is because of, how can I put it this way? It was celebrity cosigns, and it was, lack of better words, just word of mouth. The premium to me doesn't exist. Like, LVMH. They made some new stuff out here where people are basically wearing, how can I put it this way? Basically wearing, like, you know, a woman's thing. It's supposed to be fashion. I don't think that's a fashion statement. I think, you know, for the line of stuff for the people say it's a emasculation campaign, I definitely say some stuff is definitely pushing the envelope. When I say it's emasculation, I don't want to 100% say that. I don't think that it's for fashion. I just think it's just pushing the limits of basically, how can I say, societal standards. And then the traditional convention of luxury goods and items. I don't see it. If we can go out here and basically say that a sweater or a polo hoodie is worth $3,000 or $4,000 and it fits and it really costs $160 to make, that's problematic. Like, someone basically said that Gucci makes it only costs something like $80 to $100, and they charge $1,200 for the thing. They had a name and brand recognition. Why are you not buying someone else's stuff? Well, number one, both of them I would never even pay or buy both of their products. For one, it's just not me. Two, taste is subjective. Opinion is subjective too. Three, if we have to be completely honest, the market, is that a fair, even value exchange for the dollar? No, it's not. And then three, the market is dictated by what people can charge or what they're allowed to charge. And then two, with that, it's also about the availability of goods. Like, you know, in order to buy a Birkin bag, you have to have a profile. You got to spend a lot of money with the brand, keep it in-house. So you might have to buy crappy items just to even say you had a Birkin. And the way dating goes, I'll never buy a lady a Birkin. I'll never buy a lady a Birkin. Let's get married or something. We've been at an anniversary. That's just not. People should not have the ability to do that. All this crap. Now, the next thing I will say, especially about business and the way life works too, is the price. Honestly speaking, a lot of places have moved. Like, I saw the FP Jordan had moved to, they had this spot in Manhattan, and I heard that this stuff got broken into or whatnot. They only make 800 pieces a year. We don't know the revenue, but I would say if you basically are allowed to buy FP Jordan, please hold on to that. I would never sell it. My personal opinion, because I mean, I feel like it's history, it's a piece of art in my opinion. And it's only getting better with time. I think the next thing too, especially if we're talking about business and the spacing, a lot of places they have shut down and cut down the costs. It's not economically viable for a place to have its own standout boutique. When I think about business too, especially the online marketplace, sometimes there's not a market for certain stuff online. And the only problem I kind of got to with the way that business works and in commerce is one of those things that it's going to gradually go in two ways. One, you have your payment processor, and one, you have your extension of your plug-in, and then you have to pay for cybersecurity, this, that, and the third. And then two, you have to pay duties and taxes. I know, like, my first watch that I buy, I get back to work. As soon as I get a paycheck, man, I'm buying that watch. I'm putting it on credit. It's like $800 a month. I'll basically pay that junk down. I'm gonna try to build my credit, and I'm gonna get myself a Cuban. I'm gonna save up my money and put it on credit. Put the Cuban on credit, and then build my credit that way. Dumbass. Wow. This guy got me. What time is it? I'll play one more, but yeah. Me personally, I don't think that business is one of those things that you can definitely guarantee or ensure that things are going to go smooth. I know people talk about retail and then the market. Protect, definitely, the wait list is like 6 years. The wait list is like 6 years to buy it. Now, if I know what you call, I can get a watch for somebody or whatnot, and I can make a few things. I'm not going to try to make that much money off people. I'm really not. I'm trying to be a service. Like, if there's a watch that someone wants, like if it's a Batman, if I can find it for like, how can I say, for 12, I was saying maybe like 13, $350, and I charge someone like, 14, I'll say $750. I'm not really making that much money. I'm making like $1,300, but I'm like, I'm not charging, $17,000, because I know the watch market is going to drop for that, 100%. You got a piece, and I got experience. I gave you something that you wanted. I'm being a service to you more than it is about the money. The thing about too with the watch business and a certain stuff too, a lot of these times, people are buying these watches and for purposes, I would say, I don't even think it's necessarily 100% for flex. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. Like, I know someone said that, Michael Jordan watch collection is weird. I mean, if Michael Jordan likes, Earwork and De Platoon, he should like what he likes. There's no type of, you can't try to pigeonhole him into liking, for instance, Rolex. I mean, he does have Rolexes, this, that, and the third. He does have Earwork watches, which are kind of, I would say, outlandish. I mean, would I own an Earwork? Not because Michael Jordan has. I think Earwork kind of has some okay watches, and some of them are not necessarily great. But I feel like the UR202 or UR105, they're great values. The watch retails to like $65,000. It can be had for like $37,000. To me, that's a great bargain for what it is. You get something unique. You get something that's catered to you or your taste, and you go from there. And then, to me, the landscape of watches and just basically business is changing. Nobody can 100%, how can I say, forecast, where the watch market is heading. But, day-to-day business, and when you've been doing it for so long, you'll be able to see trends, and you'll be able to see, okay, if 85% of my customers are coming towards me at the $5,500 price range, between $5,500 and $10,000 price range is what people stay at. That's my ballpark right there. I need to stay within that range. I don't need to go out here and try to get a $47,000 Rolex. I should stick to my vintage Datejust. I should stay with my 1605s. I should stick with my 12633 Rolexes. I should stick with those basic things. I should stick with the Rolex Submariners from 1997, $8,800 it costs for you to get it or whatnot, and make $9,700. Make sure the watch is working. Make your money that way. The thing about it too, especially with the watch market the way it is, I just think that, with everybody's focus on the flex and the nature of, how can I say, business-wise, the ultimate, who has the bigger bag. I would say something else, but I'm not going to say it. Like, business, honestly, and then car dealership, every business is the ultimate stick measuring contest, if you think about it. If AP goes out here and makes a perpetual calendar, jumbo, extra thin perpetual calendar, Vacheron's going to come out with the same thing, the same watch, to a certain extent, and they're going to call theirs, a patrimony, perpetual calendar, this, that, and the third. That's what they're going to do. They're trying to keep up with the times. And the only thing that will possibly make that a little bit bad is when you absolutely knock off a brand and rip it off like Hublot. Hublot, I'll probably own like one Hublot, but I don't think that their price point is really worth it. The Classic Fusion green, it's alright. It's a kind of a grower of it's one of those things. It's kind of not popular or whatnot. As long as you're not paying $8,000 for it, it's really worth, I say, $4,500 max. I prefer pre-owned in that instance, because no one should be ever paying $8,000 for Hublot. Brand new. Same thing with Panerai. I probably own a Panerai too. Panerai makes okay watches. Some of it is bad. Some of them are horribly finished, and two, they're charging a premium when quite frankly, the quality isn't even there. And mainly, one of the reasons why it isn't there is because of research and design. When you look at the quality of Hublot, in a sense, and then Panerai, Hublot doesn't know who they're trying to be, for number one. They can't decide whether they want to be Richard Mille or they want to be AP. Think about the screws. And then the premium paid for the stuff. Like, they have a sapphire case. Hublot, I think it's called Big Bang. That's their big thing. Or then they call the watch. There was this man who's trying to sell it, Peter Marco. I like his stuff. He has a great selection inventory of watches. He has Hublot. I'm glad that he offers a variety of stuff for Hublot. But in all honesty, that's not a great seller. I don't know, business. I don't want to know his figures. I don't want to know anything. The one thing I would say, who is the customer, or what's the type of customer that will go and buy that? I'm not asking the customer's name or identity. What would make someone spend $80,000 there on a Hublot rather than getting a Rolex or something that has history of value, and you're definitely not going to lose 100% money. If someone can't explain that, I question a lot of things to what it is, because at the same time, money is very scarce. Money doesn't exist, in my opinion. It's just really a concept. If we're going and trading money for something, someone can attach something, a price tag that's so steep and expensive or unaffordable or unavailable at the most, what really becomes of the market as is? Is the market really going to go at a downward shift? Is the market really going to recover, or the market going to improve? Now, me personally, I don't think that Hublot is big in the United States, and part of that reason is because they don't have a huge retail space. They don't have that much of cult following, and then two, it's not something that people really appreciate. Hublot is its own separate brand. It's big in Europe. It's not big in the U.S. And there's other factors that go into what makes a watch company, what makes it at least popular or profitable to a degree. To me, Vacheron is my favorite watch brand. I probably have to save up a lot of money, but I'm going to save my money being smart. Not buying every watch there is, but I feel like I need to have me a decent watch collection for a price point. And then two, definitely delaying gratification. That's something that you have to do, and put your money aside. The next thing I will say about, for instance, the business of watches is watches are not an investment. A watch today is probably not going to be an investment or a smart decision. Like, people talk about Patek going up, $800,000. I think the only Patek that I will honestly consider ever really getting is I'm going to say, I don't really like the Nautilus that much. I don't like the Nautilus, I don't like the Aquanaut, and I don't like the Patek Philippe Celestial. That's the only two that I kind of really like, and the only two I would stick towards, and maybe even the Grand Comps, like the Perpetual Calendar, Minute Repeater Tourbillon, Split Seconds Chronograph. That's kind of cool. And then the Patek Philippe Celestial is a kind of a Grand Comp, but it shows the constellation in the sky chart. And there's so many examples. The only thing I will say, I will never get a watch in gold to a degree. It's not my preferred thing, like gold, because gold will tarnish. Gold kind of get a little bit old if it wasn't finished really that great. Most watches are 18 karat gold for the most part. They have white gold. Platinum, it makes the watches heavy to a degree. And, for what it is, and the case size, and the price, that's stuff you gotta think about. And then on an average, consistent basis, watches are one of those things where the market of today will not exist. Maybe let's say 2 years, 2 months, or 10 years down the line. Like a Daytona back then, like in 2011, was possibly like $6,000. And today, if you got your watch appraisal, you sold it. I would say for the most part, the watch itself will probably be around, I say, between $20,000 and between, I say 18 to 20. The only difference is condition, the bracelet, and the wear on the watch, and if it's still working real good. Now, not all Rolexes are made 100% the same. Rolexes effectively made the same watch over and over and over again. I mean, I'm not really a fan of Rolex that much because that's exactly what they've been doing. The only thing they have been doing here recently is making the watch the same over and over and over again. And for lack of better words, once you start making the same watch, that and a power reserve, and I mean, they kind of changed things up. What was I about to say? The power reserve and then the bracelet, it's different. Like they have the Wimbledon. All Wimbledons are not the same. You have a Wimbledon with the smooth bezel. You have the Wimbledon with the fluted bezel. You have Wimbledon with the two-tone. You have Wimbledon, this, that, and the third. You have a 2013, you have a 2014, you have this, that, and third. And the reason I call it Wimbledon is because of the dial, the green accents on the dial. So all watches, in my opinion, are not 100% the same. But two, you gotta stay on the market. Like, if someone goes in and say that they got a Harry Winston doesn't make good watches, in my personal opinion. It's not a market for him. Who's going to be wearing a watch that's one-off piece? It's meant to be worn by a celebrity at a doggone event, a gala. Who's going to be wearing that? $300,000 and the market price is $140. Even at $140, your money is guaranteed gone. It can't sell. Like, if you're a business, I would even think that's even a good proposition if you know you can't move it. You don't buy what you don't know, and until you're not able to move. And you know, with the business proposition that people have nowadays, and then what they're proposing is glass. Like, the market simply does not exist. The premium doesn't exist. And what I mean by Harry Winston doesn't make great watches, I don't think no one associates them with to be a watch company. I mean, they do. I think they definitely do make gorgeous watches in terms of, like, you know, beautifully set. Could easily match or rival Rolex. But at the same time, it's the premium associated. If something is meant to be worn as a basically wow. I'll put one more. I didn't even see how that guy. I don't see how that guy got me, but I'll play like one more. A watch is basically a secret thing that meant to be worn as a bracelet and transform into a watch. That's not necessarily a fashionable piece. That's only meant to be worn by a handful of people, and the price point is that market doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Not, at least not for me. It don't make sense, and I don't try to make it sound sense. I'm not trying to apple and orange it. To me, the market is what the market is, but you have to be willing as a consumer and a person in a business what is and what is not, you know, what is acceptable and is not acceptable. And a lot of times, especially in business and in life, people just try to apples and oranges and try to justify. You know, mental gymnastics is never really good for business and just in situations or confrontations. Mental gymnastics is never good. Compromises oftentimes lead to quality issues or certain things, or, you know, at the end of the day, you basically have the cost analysis of certain things is really there. For every action, there's an equal reaction. For the market to basically do a dip, and, you know, $140,000 is gone. You know, you probably could have got a better watch for $140,000. You probably got a few watches for $140,000. You probably could have got an RM16 for about $82,000. You possibly could have got a Datejust. You possibly could have got. You got a few watches. You probably got a Longa and Zone. You probably could have got a Saxonia. All these things, you could have had a great value for the money. And then even too, if you don't want to buy that, you possibly could have got yourself a Zenith. There's different watches for different price points. And yeah, you just gotta choose. I know people talk about different watches, this, that, and the third, but a lot of stuff, in my honest opinion, the price point and the premium are one of the things that, you know, got to keep in mind and consideration. That's really what you got to do. And then also, too, with anything, we go outside and we go spend money on food. I think it's important to think about what you did for that money and what people did to basically be able to sell you this thing. Like if someone has some $4 chicken or something like that, chicken special, I wonder what corners did you cut to make sure that chicken was $4. Is the quality ensured? Now, not every time is the chicken 100% bad or whatnot, but at the same time, those specials don't last long. You know, people give you a sample or certain stuff like that, and then once you start becoming hooked to it, your risk and reward thing is already there, so you're going to keep on coming back to get that chicken. And then at the same time, once you jack that price up, you so focused on a 2-piece chicken, you went back up in there, and then, you know, before you know it, that junk is $8, and, you know, they try to have a coupon, and then it's locked behind something. And then before you know it, the coupon don't even work. And that's happened plenty of times. That's happened plenty of times. The bait and switch is real, man. The bait and switch is real. I just think, in all honesty, the way business is and certain stuff, the market is changing. And then, too, I noticed one thing. A lot of places do not definitely run advertising as much as they claim they do. Like, for instance, Popeyes. Popeyes hasn't run an ad in God knows when. They had that black lady up there. That chicken is good. They run that up there. Then Red Lobster's not doing any advertising. The only time they have advertising is when they do the Endless Shrimp Fest or the Lobster Fest. And quite honestly, I don't think they'll even be running those specials the way things are going. Do I think they need to run advertisements? Yes, I think they need to run advertisements to a degree. Now, the only difference is between Red Lobster and all these other businesses and how they operate business. It's just word of mouth. Red Lobster's not going to spend money when they don't have to, and when it's not prime time season for them to get business. They're going to try to keep that money in the house. They're going to want you to go in there and spend that money. They want you to go and believe that how can I put it? That lobster and that shrimp scampi is going to be on a special. They're counting on you to go and incentivize business, and that, again, it's a risk and reward analysis for both parties. They're not going to spend more money than they have to when they know that, you know, the market, and then people at the average time people spend money is possibly on a Labor Day or something like that, and it's coming up. They're going to probably run that ad. And then when you think about the cost analysis for these businesses and then everything that you see company-wise for, you know, these food places, it's just not viable 100% for, you know, like an Olive Garden. Olive Garden is not good for the money, and I 100% believe that. And part of that reason is because it's too steep. The price is too steep and the quality is not ensured. I'm not a big fan of Olive Garden. Because one, the sauce is too buttery. It's not real fettuccine Alfredo. It's not even 100%. Now, sometimes it is good and sometimes it isn't. And for the price, you probably still be paying like $20 for it. The only way you can beat Olive Garden as at its own game is when they have the endless pasta or whatnot. And even their offerings have become slim pickings. The offerings have become slim pickings. Every time you turn around, they change around the meat that you can have. They won't have chicken in there. They'll have something like shrimp. I really don't eat shellfish like that anymore. They have, what you call it, too. They have stuff, you know, just nasty. They have sausage. Who's putting sausage in, you know, fettuccine? Not me. They just have certain stuff up there like fried chicken. One time I did have fried chicken and I was hungry, so it really didn't matter. But at the same time, the offering should not be what it is. And they try and charge more money, like $4 for the thing. So everything is said and done, they're pretty much charging what it should cost. It's a lost leader promotion. They're trying to get butts in the seat. And they'll basically take the hit, but they're counting on people with booze, alcohol, and desserts. And, you know, whatever special events that people have over there, and go from there. And they're going to make their money that way. It's a simple proposition, this, that, and the third, for the money. By all honesty, I won't go to Olive Garden if there's not a special. There's really no point. I don't like the food like that, and that's me just being honest. I can't lie to myself and say that Olive Garden is good. It's not fair to me. Person's a bum. Yeah, and too, especially in business and certain stuff like that, money, you know, for anything I say, like I said, a lot of stuff has to be even exchange, and when it's not, you know, you should look elsewhere, because it's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the other party or something like that. It's just not fair. The only thing too with business and how things go, it's strictly up to the person. Once something is done and all the, I guess, biddings or certain stuff like that, it's one of those things where it's a cost analysis. That's just what it is. Like, for instance, I saw a watch that I would say is pretty decent. I say gives a run for the money against the date. 18 karat gold, Vacheron 222. That's a classic piece. It's something you get a khaki suit, khaki pants, get yourself a nice little dress shirt that matches, and get yourself some brown loafers. That's a clean fit, man. You gotta know how to style that. Now, the only difference is with Vacheron and how I view it, Vacheron is not necessarily a popular brand. It's popular in Europe, but it's not popular here in the States. They don't have the brand recognition of AP. They don't have the brand recognition for Rolex. In all honesty, Rolex hasn't been around that long, but Patek, AP, and Vacheron are the three oldest watchmakers. They're the holy trinity of watches. And me personally, if I had to say which one is better out of all three of them, I would have to say Vacheron. Because of the bracelet, because of the craftsmanship. Not the only thing about it that I will say Patek is better than Vacheron in terms of complications, but Vacheron has made the most complicated piece ever. I think it's called the Les Cabinetures. Excuse me. I do speak French, but I don't want to necessarily butcher that up. I want to make sure that's 100%. I know it's definitely what I just said, but I don't 100% remember how long that all the complications. But I know between them and Frank Mueller, I think Vacheron wins by maybe a little bit of a landslide. But they're up there. Patek definitely has one of the most expensive watches ever. It's called the Grandmaster Chime. It's like $31 million, and you know, you don't really see it like that. They only make a handful of watches each year, and they only make like two, and those are made by master watchmakers. They have to basically put the watch together, break it down, put it together like 3 times, and basically test the stuff. But Patek, to me, you know, they're probably one of the greatest watchmakers out there for quality and history. And they'll always have original parts. Rolex does not have original parts. So if something breaks, the crystal or something is scratched, or the case back is terrible, Rolex would not fix that. And it's actually better to have old watch damage vintage than it is new. I have it fixed. Or even if paint is wrong with Rolex, like if there's a paint smudge, someone will probably make more money by having that still in there than just sent Rolex trying to get it fixed. I know a guy basically called a watch dealer and basically said it was messed up, and he sent it to Patek, like, you know, not Patek, Rolex, probably 3 times to get it fixed, and you know, Rolex didn't do anything to it. He lost his watch for 6 months. And for lack of better words, that was not necessarily the best thing that he could do. And once he couldn't do that, I mean, he basically lost time. He lost his watch for possibly like 3 years if all the stuff's added up together. But at the end of the day, he should just left it alone and just kept it. I'll play one more, and I'm getting off. But yeah, if we're talking about watches, I think Patek is definitely up there as being the greatest watchmaker. Rolex is not up there. Me personally, that's my personal opinion. Rolex does not have the history. Rolex does not have the vintage. I mean, in all honesty, in my honest opinion, Rolex's best years was from 1940 to like 1988. And the only reason I possibly would say that, Rolex actually did make some complicated stuff, but they just kind of got victims of their own success, and they basically lack innovation. And God basically tried to, when I was in New York, tried to basically show me that the Sky Dweller is one of Rolex's most complicated timepieces. I kind of like the Sky Dweller, but then again, I kind of don't. It has an annual calendar or whatnot. Me personally, I'm not really impressed by it because it's Rolex, and then two, there's possibly a better watch out there for the price point that has more complications at the price point that it does. Like, you can get yourself an IWC, probably perpetual calendar or annual calendar, for probably right around like $10,000 or $15,000. But all I paid $20,000 or $25,000 for something that I don't like from the brand. And then two, you know, and the difference between an annual calendar and a perpetual calendar only has to be set once. Only has to be set once, has a moon phase, and has a leap year indicator. An annual calendar doesn't have that. So if it was February, 28th or this, that, and the 3rd, it wouldn't be able to do that. Like December 31st, all that type of stuff don't take into account that, so you got to set it multiple times. The perpetual calendar, long as it's in a winder, you wear it, it will keep its time. That's why I think, for instance, you know, a lot of these companies, that's about price point and what you know about, you know, a certain thing. I think IWC is an okay watch company, but me personally, I don't think that would be one of my mainstays. I know people talking about the Venti Tourbillon. I personally think it's cool. You know, it's probably another watch I would possibly want to get. It's not a Venti Tourbillon. It's Era Tourbillon. It's about $1,500. I might get that. That might be just something I just have. Instead of a Tourbillon. I'll possibly get it, but I gotta get back to work. That's one of like the first watches I really wanted. And I've been busy I had money for the watch, but I wasn't really focused on watches back then. Like I just started focusing on my education. But I know my watch collection will come. This, that, and the third. Now the only issue that becomes, especially when we're talking about like price point, money, and collections, this, that, and the third, is taxes, and then too insurance. I know after this I'm gonna finish watching the video for 2 people. Probably gonna call it a night and go from there. We're almost done with the stream. But yeah, I honestly really don't see the purpose of definitely certain things financially. I know someone definitely said cars are the most expensive they've ever been. And I would agree that these cars are expensive, but some of these cars are crap. They're lemons. They have durability issues. They have all these different things, and then, you know, you basically finance and depreciate an asset. I'm not by any means saying a watch is an investment. A car, most definitely not an investment, but a car is definitely a utility to get money and get from point A to point B. Now, the only difference is with that basically becoming is it a market that you're willing to bear the cost for? Like, for instance, you're in the market for a new, not necessarily a new car, basically a new used car. Where are you paying for it? How long are you financing it for? And then the cost. Like, if you're getting a lemon or whatnot, you should definitely shop around a few places, because some cars you may not know they're lemons. A car may very easily be a lemon, or it might be even a salvage car. Salvage title car may have some stuff, you know, look at the Carfax, it looks clean, but lo and behold, the car is what you call it. Been damaged, had a lot of automotive body repair stuff going on with it. These people don't tell you. These people do not tell you. I just laugh at stuff like that. It's not funny, but it is funny at the same time. Because anybody who does that is just absolutely, to a degree, they tell people about the risk up front. You trying to make your money. And you know, again, I don't like people taking advantage of, you know, certain situations and this, that, and the third, but, you know, at the end of the day, the consumer is supposed to know about the product, and, you know, you have to decide whether or not you buying the product. The product is an extension of the person and an extension of the dealership. If somebody's a shady character and they just focus on selling you the stuff, they don't care about it and they have no refunds, the person is more than likely a scam artist. And depending on what they say, they might be a pathological liar. So, you know, it's just one of those things you have to, you know, go and basically read the reviews, you know, definitely do some shopping, definitely go to this place and check it out. You know, it's just, to me, I just found the car business and the watch business one and the same. Pretty much any business one and the same. You know, the cost bared by the consumers is created, and sometimes it's artificially created. There's no demand for this stuff. Some of this stuff sounds like them premium, like, oh, I promise you, you're getting a good deal. Man, I will walk up out this door right now. You gotta stick to your guns. You really do. You gotta stick to your guns. Because some of these tearful man, they're just, like, again, master of puffery. The master of puffery. Oh my God. The master of puffery. If I can make it seem like it sounds too good, and then I try to do fear missing out what it is, and I gotta go and basically add a process and then buffer my numbers and make it seem like you're getting a good deal, that sounds like a one big elaborate scam. And oftentimes it is a scam. And some people don't have a conviction about themselves or even any type of conscience to be like, yeah, they just focus on the dollar sign and the sale. And then at the end of the day, it's an extension of the person, it's an extension of the business, and it's an extension of that whole type of community wherein we're only focused on the money, we're not focused on the quality, we're not focused on keeping ourselves accountable. And I really see that as problematic. I really do. And again, some people need to be caught out on the bluff. They really need to be caught out on the bluff. That's hilarious. It's hilarious. Because in all honesty, when we think about price point, we think about place, we think about promotion. And we think about the product. What we're getting in the market is very slim pickings. Like you look at a car might be gone, and then some, like I said, with certain people, they will not take a price cut because cut to the ego. You know, I had this car out here, I can say that I put, you know, $4,000 worth of upgrades in the car, which a lot of these guys, again, it's puffery at best. The cars and stuff have minute nicks. The car hasn't even been washed. The car has dried up leaves on it. And these people are focused on basically from the time you walk in, the whole goal is to rip you off. Try to make it sound good. Being ripped off does not sound good at all. If you ask for a refund or something like that, your money back, you're not getting it. And by the time you sign those papers, you automatically know it's an L. So at the end of the day, man, if you buying a car, you buying the dealership, you buying the culture there, and then too, you gotta make sure the reviews. To me, the person should work for the customer, not the other way around. In a good way. That's been even exchange for the money. And someone trying to say that, oh yeah, this, that, and the third, the Kelly Blue Book value, this, that, and the third. Oh, I promise we put this in the thing, we got miles, a warranty. You know, a lot of stuff is puffery. That's annoying. I'll play one more. That guy was annoying. I don't want to do all that. Puffery. A lot of people are flattered by puffery. And I think, you know, to a certain extent, a lot of people let this stuff go to their heads, but a success of today is not guaranteed tomorrow. And people don't get that. There are going to be pitfalls, there are going to be hills and valleys, there are going to be mountains too. And when how would I put it this way? When the ship is sailed, the ship is sailed. And ain't nothing you can do about it. There's always going to be the latest and greatest. There's always going to be, you know, bad business expense. There's always going to be recalls on the car. At the end of the day, some cars is not strictly worth it. I'm gonna leave this one. I'm gonna play like one more for sure. And we're gonna really be out. Because of that last game, that was just terrible. I feel like I did more running than anything. You know, another thing I'm thinking about in terms of like this life and business in general, it's just like, you know, cars, money. That's sort of money. I think it's just like, you know, the value for the dollar. Working 40 hours a week and then health benefits, that's nice. I think company culture or whatnot, it could be, how can I put it? It could either be toxic or it could be kind of, how do I put it this way? It's kind of productive. Like when you clock in for 40 hours a week, and I wouldn't say medium wage job, I'm gonna say you're at a low end job of $35,000 a year, which is still considerably somewhere. It might be a gem if people's living expenses aren't, how can I put it this way, aren't that high. Like you have an apartment, an average apartment is $1,500. That's what I would say. Possibly one bedroom, probably a bath, or 2 bedroom, 1 bath, or whatnot. That right there isn't 100% like a great price point that I would say most people shouldn't be comfortable with. Depending on the space and the size, if we're paying, you know, $1,500 for a 10 by 10, that's problematic. You know, I'm not gonna do no mental gymnastics. That's the market. You can't do that. And then your rent goes up by, you know, $1,800. Not $1,800, but like up to like $1,900. You're only making, you know, 18. Probably like after expending taxes, you're probably only making like, I'd say $2,400. So you mean to tell me you have $600 worth of basically money left, not including groceries, and then $300. That's not okay. I'm not making excuses for that at all. Like at all. And lack of better words too, when you're talking about money and the cost of the money, the proposition, you can't be, you know, propose, you know, stuff that's not going to get anywhere like a benefit. Like affordable housing. Affordable housing should exist, but I know I saw something in Harlem. They said that people had to make $80,000 less, or $80,000 or less. Then we approved to the thing, and it's only a handful of amount of stuff. And then the rent is like $3,600 a month. That's a scam. Nothing about that is, that's not affordable at all. That is not affordable at all. So someone basically had to, they're spending $40,000 plus a year, not including taxes and fees and then other stuff with deposit and their utilities. There's no mental gymnastics that I'm going to do for that. This is not acceptable at all. Like at all. There's a process. You have to be served for that. you have to apply to. You may not even get it, and then there might be cutoffs. And then it's slim pickings as is, and then you want people to believe in that. Nah, I don't really think about that. At the end of the day, man, I don't think people are living comfortably like that. Now, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about having a high income skill and then making yourself, your services or your business as valuable and creating value that no one else has. And then understand your core competencies and understand what you're incompetent in and going from there. Because in all honesty, in all actuality, there's not too many businesses out here that can sustain growth in terms of maybe, how can I say, a year. Like, you know, annuity. Let's say someone has a credit card, for instance, and, you know, they're liquid $1 million. But they have some debt out here that you say 120,000. They're trying to get their business off the ground, and you know people normally say that you shouldn't get anything that's worth 20% of your income, basically. So they're doing pretty smart. They're trying to get their business. The expected growth for this business is okay. I think that, you know, if someone has $1 million liquid and they starting a business and they buy something or try to start a business with $120,000, depending on what it is, it might be smart, it might be ill-advised. It just depends on how well a person knows their business. They have, you know, preparations. They have a business agreement. And, they're sticking to a strict plan and they're moving a certain way. At the end of the day, I don't think that people are 100% making sometimes smart or financially savvy business moves. It's just not one of those things. Even with real estate or property, there could be someone probably managing billions of dollars of property, but the property value is plummeted, and they will basically allow property values to plummet. And then they'll probably get themselves in the ideal situation, line their pockets, and this is a repeated process. And for lack of better words, when you go and pretty much like that, the market doesn't exist. That's indicative that the market doesn't exist. If there's something like that, the market does not exist. And once the market doesn't exist, I mean, you pretty much have to make up something. Like, for instance, he would say diamonds are forever. Diamonds are really not forever. There's not necessarily an endless supply, but there's enough in demand, and it's controlled by conglomerate De Beers. They definitely have a huge impact on the diamonds to a degree, but they don't have the 100%. They don't control the prices 100%. There's a list called Rappaport, and diamond prices are down 15%. And so, lack of better words, I mean, the marketing, the diamondist forever, that's a trademark. And then everything about it is just such to a point where, you know, you believe it. The stones are pretty much there. It depends on color, cut, clarity, and carat weight. That pretty much determines the price. Like if someone said a natural pink diamond is $200,000 worth of per carat, because it's rare and it's not being, the mine is not open. Argyle is renowned for making natural pink diamonds or whatnot. It's not in production anymore, but it's opening back up. But they're not mining for pink diamonds anymore because they're basically done. The only commercially successful mine there ever has been is the Cadi mine in Canada. It costs like $800 million to produce, and today I would say if it was adjusted, probably $1 billion, but the actual output of it today and how much money they made off of that is $8.6 billion. So that was literally a gold mine, but in this case it was a diamond mine. But the cost strictly isn't there, because at the end of the day, they've made that over a course. I don't know what 100% when the thing basically opened, but I know the actual data and statistics for it is there. But outside of that, you know, the lack of better words, the business model of that exists strictly over a course of time. Just like hotels. Hotels aren't really making that much money to a degree. They make their money during, the seasons, and then off seasons, they jack up the price when it's, a big name events in town or not. I think some of these places are in cahoots with each other to raise the price up. Like a hotel shouldn't be, $550 a night or whatnot during, even if it's a crappy hotel, it should be $550. It should possibly be around I'd say $210. But depending on who's coming in town, the influx of people feel like they can charge that because that's what the market can bear. I don't think I wouldn't even travel at that point. Is what people are trying to charge because it's not worth it. When you think about how much you have to save and how much it really costs, what it's going to cost you, and how far it's going to set you back, you'll start thinking about things a whole lot differently. When you start to see there's a continuous pattern of greed, grifting, some puffering, and just puffery. It's just mind-boggling. When you think about business, alright y'all, I'm out.